I found a letter hidden in my father's closet. It was addressed to me, postmarked 7 years ago. A full-ride scholarship. On the back, in his handwriting, "She's too important here." That's when I understood. They never wanted me to succeed. They wanted me to stay. And serve. My name is Octavia. I'm 31 years old. And on Christmas Eve, in front of 20 people, my father stood up from the head of the table, locked eyes with me, and said, "Pay rent. Or get out." The room went dead silent. Only the fireplace crackled, like it was mocking me. Then my sister Vera raised her wine glass, smirked, and whispered just loud enough for everyone to hear, "Good luck with that." The laughter spread like wildfire. Neighbors, cousins, even strangers I didn't recognize, all joining in. Not one person defended me. Not one person blinked. So I gathered my things, walked out into the freezing Wisconsin night, and shut that door behind me. For the last time, but here's what they didn't know. That wasn't the beginning of my story. That was the finale of theirs. Because my family? They'd been preparing my exit for years. They just didn't realize I'd been keeping score. Let me take you back. When I was 17, a scholarship letter arrived. Full ride. Chicago University. My ticket out. I never saw it. I found out years later it had been hidden, tucked in a box in my father's closet. Deadline long expired. Why? Because leaving meant freedom. And freedom meant they'd lose the girl who cooked, who cleaned, who kept everything afloat. The savings account my grandmother built for me? Birthday checks. Summer job wages. Graduation gifts. Emptied. Before I even knew it existed. Household needs, my dad called it. Bills. Groceries. Little emergencies. But funny thing about those emergencies, they always seemed to benefit Vera. She got a car at 21. Shiny compact. Red bow on top. I got the bus schedule. Taped to the fridge. When I asked about it, my dad laughed. "You've always been more independent." As if being overlooked was a compliment. Every holiday, same story. I was given the same chair, the one next to the bathroom door. People brushed past me all night. "Excuse me." "Pardon." Never actually seeing me. I was the only one who never truly sat at the table. Vera? Center of the room. Next to Dad. Refilling glasses like a hostess at a gala. Me? I passed dishes. Smiled politely. And disappeared behind the steam of my own plate. Even my name was negotiable. Octavia became Octa on place cards. Oh, on birthday cakes. And once, Madison on a gift tag. A name not even close to mine. At first, I thought it was careless. Then I realized. It was deliberate. Every mistake was another small eraser. A reminder that remembering me wasn't worth the effort. And oh, the phrases they loved to repeat. "You're so dramatic." "You're lucky we gave you a roof." This family isn't a charity. But what charity demands that the person they shelter pay the bills, cook the meals, and disappear quietly into the corner? I should have known then. Christmas Eve wasn't a beginning. It was a finale, years in the making. Walking out of that house should have felt like disaster. Instead, it felt like unclipping a weight I hadn't realized was strapped to my chest. For the first time in years, the silence belonged to me. No footsteps overhead. No Vera shouting into her phone. No Dad's TV rattling through paper-thin walls. Just quiet. That first night, I didn't unpack much. Toothbrush. Clean pajamas. The cheap lamp from my old room. And somehow, I slept better on that half-made bed than I had in a decade. The next morning, I woke before the winter sun. My body expected the old routine. Tidy. Brew. Serve. Tasks no one thanked me for. Instead, I boiled water just for me. Sat by the window. Watched snow tap the glass like small knuckles testing the world. My life felt smaller now. But finally, mine. That first week, I built a new rhythm. Transferred bills out of my name. Canceled subscriptions I never wanted. Rerouted my mail. I bought groceries only I liked. Arranged them neatly. No more labels to keep Vera from taking them. No more explaining why the coffee pods vanished overnight. I started small rituals to remind myself I existed. Light a candle before bed. Keep lemons in a bowl on the counter. Stick a note on the fridge that said one word, stay. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed with guilt and commands. Group texts, missed calls, voicemails heavy with performance. I let them pile up like snow drifts. And every hour I stayed silent, my spine grew a little straighter. On day 3, I opened my bank app out of habit. And my stomach dropped. Line after line, rent, home, monthly. For straight years. I clicked one. Then 10 more. Something wasn't right. I called the mortgage company. Waded through elevator music that felt like mockery. The representative was careful. Professional. Ma'am, you're not on this account. And this loan is delinquent. 3 months behind. Silence. I wasn't living under his roof. He was living off my paycheck. Embarrassment came first. Then heat under my collar. Then something colder. Sharper. I downloaded every transfer. Stacked PDFs like bricks. Paper trails keep reality real. I learned that young then my email pinged. Urgent. Credit alert. New account opened. A department store card. My name. My old address. Another alert. Home goods chain. Same deal. I clicked into the purchase history. Designer heels. A Vitamix blender. An $800 hair dryer. All purchased 2 days before Christmas. Someone had a luxury shopping spree. On me. I pulled up the shipping details. Recipient, clear as daylight. Vera Calloway. This wasn't a mistake. This was theft with a bow on top. Shame flickered for exactly 1 second. Then it hardened into something clean. Cold. Unbreakable. I froze my credit. Filed disputes with every bureau. Set verbal passwords using a phrase my mother wrote just for me, one nobody could ever guess. Then came a knock at the door. Not the family drum beat. Measured. Human. I opened it to find Aunt Deborah standing in the snow. She pressed a thumb drive into my palm. Your mother would be proud. You're not wrong. And then she left. I loaded the video. Vera's engagement party. Phones out. Champagne flowing. Someone asked off camera, will Octavia be a bridesmaid? Vera rolled her eyes. Please. She's the emergency fund. The backup account. Harland, my father, laughed. Glass raised. She doesn't mind. She's helpful. They didn't whisper. Why would they? No one in that room disagreed. I paused on their faces. Polished. Practiced. Perfectly unashamed. In their world, I wasn't a daughter. I was liquidity. The printer hummed like a metronome for my new spine. Bank PDFs. Credit alerts. Dispute numbers. Shipping confirmations. Video transcript. I printed everything. Organized it by date. Clipped it into a folder that grew heavier by the hour. That's the thing about truth. It has weight when you bind it together. I booked a certified mailing pickup. Signatures required. Then I prepared 3 envelopes. Harland. Denise. My stepmother. Vera. Evidence and terms. Not apologies. Christmas Eve wasn't a beginning. It was their finale. And this? This was my opening statement. Same cracked driveway. Same peeling paint. But this time I didn't knock. I walked in like truth wearing shoes. Kitchen. Vera scrolling her phone. Harlan chewing toast. Denise stirring coffee. No one greeted me. No one used my full name. I set 3 white envelopes on the table. Open them. Harlan smirked. Then he opened the first page. The smirk died. Bank transfers, I said. For years of rent payments that never went to the bank. I let that land. Delinquent mortgage notices. Credit fraud alerts. Shipping confirmations with Vera's name. And a transcript of the video where you called me an emergency fund. Vera laughed nervously. You printed the internet. Cute. I met her eyes and held them. You forged my name. You spent my money. That's not drama, Vera. That's a felony. Harland cleared his throat. Tried the old voice. Let's be reasonable. Family handles things internally. Family doesn't commit identity theft, I said. Ice cold. So here are my terms. Today. Not someday. 1. Reimburse every dollar. Or we litigate. Itemized. Public. 2. Destroy the fraudulent cards. Photo proof. Witness present. 3. Stop using my name, address, and number. Permanently. 4. Any charge after today triggers police. Not a conversation. Police. Denise stepped forward, arms open like she was offering mercy. I stepped back. No more hugs from people who steal. Harland tried the guilt card. We gave you a roof over your head. I slid a printout across the table. Custodial withdrawals. My account. Zeroed out before I turned 18. My voice didn't waver. Grandma's gifts. My wages. Graduation checks. All gone. You didn't give me a roof, I was the roof. Vera's chin lifted. You love drama more than family, Octa. I stepped closer. Say my name. Silence. Then say theft. Denise tried one last angle. Soft voice. Mournful eyes. We were struggling. Have some compassion. I am, I said. For myself. I placed the final document on the table. Sign the acknowledgement. 30-day repayment schedule. Or the next signatures you give will be on sworn statements. Harlan's jaw worked. You won't call the cops on your own father. I tapped the folder square. Reports are already filed. Case numbers are inside. Letters to the prosecutor are queued. Stamps are paid. I paused. I came here to offer you the quieter road. Vera hissed. You'll regret this when nobody shows up for you. I almost smiled. Nobody showed up last night. I survived. I turned toward the door. These are copies. The originals don't live here anymore. At the threshold, Harland tried one last play. You walk out that door? Don't come back asking for help. I looked at the man who had edited me out of my own life. I'm not asking for anything, I said. I'm auditing. And the balance you owe? It's due. The Wisconsin winter met me like a clean ledger. Cold. Exact. Honest. I watched my breath cloud the air, then vanish. And I drove home. The phone rang before I hit the corner. I answered anyway. Harlan's voice was careful now. Coached. Let's talk before this gets uglier. I already filed, I said. Case numbers are in your envelope. A pause. Then the old threat, dressed up as concern. You're alone now. I smiled for the first time in days. No, I'm not. Click. Home. Locked door. Honest heat. I filed the receipts and the weight steadied me. Then I remembered the box. High shelf. Unlabeled. Inside, yearbooks. Old programs. And a manila envelope with my name. Chicago University. Full ride. 7 years old. On the back, in his handwriting. She's too important here. Beneath it, a pink envelope. My mother's handwriting. To my Octavia, open when they doubt your shine. Her words were simple. If they say you're too much, remember, they weren't enough to hold you. Behind the letter? A savings bond. The seed money for this house I now stood in. Even from beyond, she'd left me a way through. I wrote one final letter. Dates. Amounts. Reimbursement terms. Release agreements. No contact clauses. Fraud reports verified. Credit freezes confirmed. Signed. Scanned. Sent. Closure, not spectacle. The family group chat flickered for a few days. Then went silent. No apologies came. But sometimes, silence is the closest thing to sorry you'll ever get. I opened a new document on my laptop. Titled it, Unwritten. A future fund. A small clinic. Resources for women like me. We don't need louder voices. We need exits. And receipts. Before bed, I wrote 2 lines on an index card and taped it inside my front closet. Family isn't ownership. Boundaries aren't betrayal. Lights off. The house kept breathing. Morning came clean across the floorboards. 1 cup. 1 kitchen. 1 quiet life. I wrote 3 words on a fresh page. I release you. Not to bless them. To keep myself whole. I'm not staying angry. I'm just not staying. If they rewrite my story, I have the originals. Filed. If they knock, there's a lock. And a letterhead waiting. If they come for me again, they'll find someone who knows her worth down to the decimal. This isn't the end of my story. It's the beginning. If you want to see what happens next, whether they pay, whether they fight, whether silence becomes permanent, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because this chapter, it's just getting started. Family isn't who raised you. It's who refuses to break you. Octavia, age 31. Finally free.